Thank you, Allison. You can hear me, just to double check.
Loud and clear, sir.
Okay. Okay, so as Allison said, we are going to be doing a subaward reporting 101 presentation. My name is Adam Stansfer. I am the product owner, and I've overseen the development of the modernization of subaward reporting in SAM.gov to replace FSRS. So the purpose of this training. So we're going to give you an overview of how you'll be able to view and make subboard reports in SAM.gov once FSRS retires this coming Thursday, as in tomorrow, close of business, March 6th. So what we're going to teach you is what's changing when subaward reporting moves to SAM.gov, when new SAM.gov subaward reporting terminology, how you can get the roles and permissions to be able to create, edit, and work with these subboard reports in SAM.gov, how to make subboard reports in SAM.gov using the improved data entry options, how to search these subboard reports, as well as how to find more help and more resources for subboard reporting in SAM.gov. Okay, so first, what's changing when subboard reporting moves to SAM.gov? So what is changing is you will now go to a different location. So you're going to go to SAM.gov. That will be the new home for subboard reporting. You will make individual subboard reports in a user interface that has been improved from the FSRS data entry form, or you can use a bulk upload API option that we have specifications posted to the OpenGSA website. And who will be making these? You or anyone on your team who can get a role with your specific UEI and permissions to work with subboard reports in SAM.gov. This means that you can share reporting responsibilities with other people on your team. It also means that you can get help with, from existing administrative users for any reporting to be able to get the roles and permissions for the site as well. What is not changing is the underlying regulation or laws or any other statute that is requiring you to do the subboard reporting itself. So what's in your contract is still valid, is still relevant. So you need to come into SAM.gov to report these by the end of the month as opposed to FSRS.gov. The reporting options aren't changing, so you can still make subboard reports either through the user interface on SAM.gov, or we also have a bulk upload API option. We are working to create a file upload option similar to what you use on FSRS, but that will not be available at the initial launch. We are working on that, and we'll give you updates as soon as possible with that. And also, what's not changing is this is public, so you do not need, to have uh, a specific account to be able to, view information on there. If you're logged into SAM with your public account, you can still view this information, and you can also go and view the information without any sort of account on usaspending.gov. So what are the benefits that we're bringing here? So when we're going in SAM.gov, you'll be able to manage reporting for all of your entities from one SAM.gov account. You'll be able to share these responsibilities across your team. So for a lot of you on the call who have experience with SAMDoc with FSRS, you're currently used to the existing concept of the work list, of which only one of you is allowed to pull in a prime award or a prime, contract into your workspace at a time. And once you've claimed that, then nobody else on your team can do that. So we are updating that. We no longer have that as a problem. You can share responsibilities across your team, collaborate with all the people that you want to provide those roles to, and make sure that things get done. You'll be able to use data in SAM.gov to reduce your reporting burden, as in you will need to ideally be reporting less because you shouldn't need to feel the pressure of unnecessary monthly reporting that may be duplicative. You'll be able to get warnings on potential issues with reports and reducing errors and duplicative reporting there. So as you're filling out the data, we will give you, feedback as to, hey, some of the information that you put in may not be correct, so you may want to take a look at it. We'll be allow you to comply with federal regulation more easily, and also view search and view reports more easily. So before we get into the training videos or other screenshots or anything like that, we want to just for those of you on the call who may not have a ton of experience with SAM.gov, so for those of you who may be only used to be working in FSRS or may be used to primarily working in FSRS that may want sort of to brush up on some of this terminology, we're just going to go over some few things on the underlying ways that SAM works as far as your user accounts and profiles and permissions and that sort of a thing. So to get you up to date with some of the terms, we have things, and we're going to go through these individually, so don't worry about it. So we have domains, we have registered entities, hierarchies, accounts and profiles, roles and permissions, subaward reporting permission, within that permission that role that you'd be assigned, and then how your role works within a hierarchy of your organization itself. So first for domains. So when you hear the word either in this presentation or across any SAM documentation that starts talking about a domain, you can really sort of think in your mind about these are like groupings of data. So for example, SAM has contract data, such as opportunities, and assistance data, such as assistance listings. Each of these exists as their own domain in SAM. So while SAM.gov encompasses all of these things, all of the individual places where you'd want to go find these individual types of records, those are all within their own domain. So contract opportunities is a domain, entity information is a domain, so on and so forth. Think of them as logical groupings for either the data that you're looking to find or the actions you're wanting to perform within the system. Registered entities. So registered entities for a lot of you on the call, that'll be a lot of you. So these are businesses, organizations, or people who are applying for and getting federal grants or loans or bidding and getting federal contracts. So before you're able to be, submit your proposal, before you're able to be awarded a contract, you have to have a SAM registration. Those SAM registrations are registered entities in the system. Registering is also how you further are, assigned a unique entity ID, which is the UEI, as part of that registration process. So when we talk about hierarchies, we're really talking about the relationship of your registered entity within any parent structure that your entity exists within. So for a lot of you on the phone, that may just be a mom and pop shop or a small business. You may not have all that complicated of a hierarchy. And so this may be just, additional context information for you. But a lot of people on the phone are going to be people who exist within large companies. So people like, a Northrop Grumman or um, Walmart or something that has nationwide offices or other places of doing business. So when we talk about hierarchies, we're talking about various rungs of that corporate ladder. So you start talking about having the highest most parents, the middle parents, and then the child. So the highest most entity is called the ultimate parent entity right here. So that would be the company headquarters. In the intermediate step of that would be the parent entity itself. So company ABC would be a parent entity to their children, but they have the ultimate parent entity of the headquarters themselves. And then the lowest rungs of that ladder are these branch offices, which would be, branch A, B, 1, 2. These are the child entities that roll up to the parent entity that then rolls up to the ultimate parent entity. As I said before, if you are a company that has a very simple structure or a very small company, all of these rungs may be one and the same. But for those larger companies, this is how the system arranges you to do things. This is going to be important here in a second when we start talking about roles, but just to get you into this thought, into this headspace that this is how the hierarchy works. Okay. Next, so we have accounts and profiles. So whenever you have an account in SAM.gov, you will not be able to do anything unless you are assigned a role, which allows you to have certain permissions in the site. So when you first register and log into the site, a user profile is created for you. They start capturing things like your first name, last name, email address. You can then enter optionally your business phone information, that kind of stuff. But that lets you basically set up your account that is based off of the login.gov account that you logged into SAM with. So because we use login.gov, you don't need to create a separate SAM password. You use the login.gov details as well as the two-factor authentication methods to make sure that you are, secure in logging into the site. So once you have that user profile, though, then in order to do actions within the system, you need to be assigned roles and permissions. So roles and permissions are basically, they allow you to do tasks within the systems. The roles belong to domains. So as we said before, the domain is that sort of logical grouping of the data or actions that you want to take in the site. And those roles are associated with entities, which is, the UEI that you have that is registered either in the system or exists on the corporate hierarchy for your entity. So for example, in the entity reporting domain, we have administrator roles and data entry roles. So you'll see on the right-hand side here, we have it sort of logically laid out to where it's almost a hierarchy in itself. So you have the top level, which is the administrator, which goes down to the data entry, and you'll see the permissions, which are within that role, what that user can do. So the administrator can manage users and they can manage data. The data entry user can just manage data. So these permissions, as a lot of things are in SAM, are sort of hierarchical in how they're arranged. So you will never have a lowest level role that can do things that the higher tier role cannot do. So, for example, you would never see something that this data entry user could do that the administrator could not do. Everything is top down. So, for this reason, we do have rules in place in the system that say that a user can only be assigned one role per domain, and that's specifically because we have this nested. So there would never be a reason why you would need to have an administrator role and a data entry role. You would just need to figure out what types of activities I need to do in the system, and then make the determination as to which role you would need from there. So taking us back into the thought of those hierarchies that we were talking about, right? So what we were just talking about was the role and the permission. So that is, within entity reporting, I want to be able to be the administrator. So what does that mean? So those roles are assigned at an entity level. So as I said before, you have the headquarters, you have which is the ultimate parent, you have the regular parent, which would, in this instance, we're calling it the division, and then you have branch A, B, 1, and 2. So if I have a role at that top level, all of those permissions that we talked about before are hierarchical. So if I have an administrator role at this highest level, I can also do the administrative tasks for these intermediate parents. I can also do it for these further children all along the hierarchy. It's top down. So any role that you're assigned, you can do for anything at your level or below. So think about it in another way. So person two over at the West Division, they can do, if they're an administrator role, they can administrator stuff for their own division and they can do stuff for branch A and branch B. What they cannot do is they cannot do administrative activities for the ultimate parent headquarters, and they cannot do anything for over here for their sort of sister division or sister branches 1 and 2. So again, the role is based on the location you're assigned and anything below that in the tree. And likewise, the person three over here, which just has the lowest most role with that just branch one, they can only do activities for branch one that they're assigned, because there's in this example, there are no further lower rungs of that corporate ladder or branches of that hierarchy. And that's sort of the thought process they can get behind as far as roles, permissions, and how those roles and permissions map up to your entity or organization. It's think about it from the top down. Okay, so now we get into the actual subaward reporting permission, and this is what a lot of you are probably dying to hear about, which is so the domain that we're talking about for the subaward reporting in SAM is entity reporting. For those of you who already are doing some of these things in SAM, these is the same role of the users who are doing bio-preferred reporting as well as Service Contract Act reporting in SAM. We added a new permission that is highlighted in the screenshot right there. That is to account for creating, editing, and deleting subaward reports. Something to note here is that for data entry users, this permission is not by default checked off. So for all of the administrators on the call, if you are assigning this to another user in your organization with the intent to allow them to create, edit, or delete subaward reports, as you're assigning this role, you should go find this permission, check it off, and make sure that it's checked off so that they will be able to do that. Otherwise, they'll probably come right back to you and say, I don't see what you're asking me to do, because those types of activities will not be shown to them when they log into the system. Vice versa. For those administrators who already have accounts in SAM, or for those who are, signing up for SAM and being assigned an entity reporting administrator account, this permission for create, edit, and delete subaward report, that is automatically assigned to administrators. So administrators have that by default. Data entry people do not. So you need to, for all your data entry users, make sure, just to reiterate one more time, make sure that as you are working with their roles and you can go edit their roles or assign a new role, make sure that you're clicking that if you want them to be able to work with the subaward reports. Okay, so now Now that we're all caught up on some of some of the vernacular and some of the definitions of these things, we do have some videos that we're going to show you as far as the roles. We have four in total. The first is going to be about the roles themselves. So I'm about to share as I mentioned, a video. These videos are on the GS. They are already posted to, and this is being hidden by Zoom, but it is posted to the GSA YouTube page. So everything I'm going to share here is there. And also we have additional information via that Interact activity feed as we talked about at the front of the presentation itself. But for now, I'm going to go back to my slideshow. And we are going to start sharing the user video. So bear with me 1 minute.
Hello. In this video, we will show you how to connect your SAM.gov account to the same entities you had in FSRS.gov. We will also cover how to get the right subaward reporting permissions in SAM.gov before FSRS.gov is retired in spring 2025. To work with subaward reports in SAM.gov, you need both a role and a specific permission in the entity reporting domain. You will need either the data entry role or the administrator role. Let's talk about these roles and their permissions for a minute. The data entry role needs a special subaward reports permission to let you create, edit, and delete these reports. This permission is not automatically assigned for data entry users. You must request it from someone with the administrator role in the entity reporting domain. By completing the steps in this video, you'll learn how to request these permissions if you don't already have them. For those of you with the administrator role in the entity reporting domain, you already have the permission to create, edit, and delete subaward reports in SAM.gov when FSRS.gov is retired. As an entity administrator, you may also get role requests from your colleagues. You are responsible for approving or rejecting these requests in SAM.gov, and you can assign or remove their roles at any time. When assigning the data entry role, select the Create, Edit, Delete Subaward Report checkbox to provide the permission to work with subaward reports. You can also view who has roles with your entity and manage their permissions in the user directory at any time. If you manage users with the data entry role, or you want to get the subaward reporting permission from your entity administrator, we will guide you through setting up subaward reporting permissions in SAM.gov based on the information we have from either FSRS.gov or SAM.gov. Let's review the 4 scenarios you may encounter during this process. Once you complete these workflows, they will not display the next time you sign into SAM.gov. For most users, when you sign in on this SAM.gov subaward transition page with either your FSRS.gov or SAM.gov email address, a notification tells you that your FSRS.gov user profile has been migrated successfully. This notification includes your organization's name, its unique entity ID, UEI, and your sign-in email address. If SAM.gov detects that you reported for multiple entities in FSRS.gov, the next page shows those entities so you can request subaward reporting permissions for them too. In FSRS, you needed different email addresses for each entity that you wanted to report on. SAM.gov makes it simpler by letting you report on all your entities from a single account. Choose which entities you want to report for with your SAM.gov account and select Next. On the next page, you can search for and select entities SAM.gov did not detect and request subaward reporting permissions for them. Next, you confirm your permissions request and see a list of all the entities you selected. Add required comments, verify your business need for the roles, and select Request Roles. You can also select Cancel to go to your workspace. Once you select Request Roles, the next page confirms your request. From here, you can either select Next to go to the workspace, or Roles to see the My Roles page of your user profile. This page shows your role requests. If your entity administrator approves a request, you see the role here. You can select a pending request to view it, add comments, and delete it. Let's see another scenario FSRS.gov users may encounter. If you have an FSRS.gov user profile but have not created a SAM.gov account, you need to create the SAM.gov account first. Since both sites use login.gov to sign in, use the same login.gov account you used for FSRS when you sign in to SAM.gov for the first time. The first time you sign in, you must read and agree to our terms of use. Select the checkbox indicating you agree and select Submit. You will get an email with a one-time password. Enter the password from your email into the pop-up and select Submit. Complete your profile information by adding your first and last name and optional phone number, then select Submit. You can then navigate the workflow, completing the forms. After submitting the form, you get the page that shows you have successfully submitted the request as previously shown. Now let's review another scenario you could experience during account migration. If your login.gov account includes multiple email addresses, sign into SAM.gov with the email address you used to set up your SAM.gov account. This will ensure you are taken to the correct workflow to set up your role and permissions for subaward reporting. If you sign in to SAM.gov using a different email address on the same login.gov account, you get a page stating you have an existing profile. We recommend you sign out and use the email address associated with your SAM.gov account. You may also select the link to access login.gov if you want to update that account directly. Please be aware that login.gov is not supported by the Federal Service Desk. If you need support while updating your login.gov account, select Help at the bottom of the Your Account page. You will also see two other options. One other option is to deactivate your current SAM.gov account so you can use another email address. If you don't have access to the email address you use for your SAM.gov account, this is a good option to use. The second option is to make another SAM.gov account. If you have a reason you want to manage your subaward reporting in a separate account from the rest of what you do in SAM.gov, this is a good option for you. Selecting the link for either option will open the instructions for that option in a new tab. Follow these instructions if you believe the option is the best one for your organization. Now let's see the final scenario you may encounter as you set up your SAM.gov account and permissions. If you use a different login.gov account to sign into SAM.gov, SAM.gov won't be able to detect that you are an FSRS user. If you know that you have an FSRS account, please sign out and use the email address associated with that account to sign in so you can use the page to get set up for subaward reporting in SAM.gov. If you want to use a different login.gov account for your subaward reporting in SAM.gov, you can sign in with that account on this page and select Request Permissions. Then select the entities you want to report for, as we showed before. By following the steps in this video, you'll be ready for subaward reporting when the features go live in spring 2025. Until then, please remember to continue submitting your subaward and modification reports in FSRS.gov. This concludes our discussion of SAM.gov subaward reporting user roles and permissions. Thanks for watching.
Okay, thanks everybody. Okay, so the as mentioned on in that video, as well as in the slides going up to it, there is a transition page that is going to be it currently is in SAM.gov. It is sam.gov/FSRS. There's the link right there. This is a temporary page for FSRS.gov users who make subaward reports and who need help to set up your account with the roles and permissions that you used back in FSRS.gov before FSRS.gov retires. This page will also, remain available after the launch of SAM. So you can do this after launch too. But we wanted to be sure that if users want to come in before, you can get your accounts all set up and ready to go. So this page, takes some of the guesswork out of setting up your reporting and your roles and permissions, and removes the need for administrators to assign the roles and permissions to everybody in their organization during the transition period. And then we also have, some links to some user guides and help articles that will allow you to help for data entry as well as the administrator role and how to get those roles assigned as well. Okay, so next we are going to show off some data entry presentations. So we're going to be showing both the subcontract report, how those are created, as well as the financial assistance subaward reports. So these processes are pretty similar, but they differ slightly in terms of some of the data elements that are collected. So we're going to show both of them. So since there are a number of participants that would either have, their lives deeply in one as opposed to the other. So it's just to make sure we're applying to all of the relevant people. So the next video will start now.
Hello. In this video, I'll be showing you how non-federal users can work with subaward reports in SAM.gov starting in spring 2025. Non-federal users will need the data entry role under the entity reporting domain to use these new features. They can also access these features if they have the administrator role with subcontract reporting permission. There are two new widgets in the workspace for subcontract reporting, one for contract awards and one for assistance awards. For this demo, we will take a look at contract awards. You can select the first See All button to navigate to your contract awards page. This page displays all of your prime awards in a single view. The search bar lets you enter a contract ID to create or update a subcontract report. Results show up under the search bar. Selecting that result takes you to the details page for that contract, which displays a lot of helpful data for the prime contract that will be used in the subcontract report. From this page, you can create a new subcontract report or view previously submitted subcontract reports. The second See All button takes you to the subcontract reports page. This page displays all of your subcontract reports in a single view. As I said before, the contract awards page provides a list of all of your contract awards in a single place. The top of the page includes easy navigation buttons between the contract awards page and the subcontract reports page. You can filter your contract awards by selecting one of the drop-downs and entering your search criteria, or you can search the list by entering a keyword. The list changes based on what you enter. The contract awards page lets you choose how you want to view your summary. You can choose between a table or summary format. In the table format, simply select the entry in the table to open the contract details page for that item. In the summary view, each entry has a View Contract button, which also opens the contract details page. One of the big improvements that we've made to subcontract reporting in SAM.gov is that you no longer need to manually add or claim your prime awards for them to be visible in your individual workspace. SAM presents you with all available prime awards based on your user role. Other users in your entity who have the data entry or administrator role with subcontract reporting permission under the entity reporting domain will be able to see these in SAM.gov, significantly improving your ability to collaborate. Let's see what happens when we select a contract. When the contract details page displays, you can see all of the contract's available information. You can use the left navigation to jump to specific sections on the page. By selecting subcontract reports, you'll see all of the available subcontract reports that have been created for this contract. This section includes the ability to filter and search the selected subcontracts. From here, you can create a new subcontract report. For now, we'll skip this step. Now, let's take a look at the subcontracts reports page. This subcontracts reports page has the same filter, search, table, and summary features as the contract awards page. All of these operate in the same way. So how do you create new subcontract reports? There are two ways. Let's show you how to do so from the contract details page first. After you locate the contract you need, select the new subcontract report button to open the new report page. From the new report page, you'll notice the prime contractor information is automatically populated based on the contract you've selected. We designed the data entries so you can move through the pages before completing all the information. This lets you look ahead. Just remember, you cannot submit the subcontract report until you provide all required information. You then navigate through the form entering all pertinent details for the subcontract. For the subcontractor, you can enter either the Unique Entity ID, UEI, or the entity name. SAM.gov will check to see if the information is the same as the prime contractor or if it is a valid entity. You will get an error message for any incorrect information you enter. Executive compensation has been improved. If the subcontractor has an entity registration in SAM.gov, the executive compensation data will be pre-populated on the published report but not in the data entry process. It cannot be changed from the subcontract report data entry screen. You may also need to enter executive compensation. If the information isn't in SAM.gov, simply follow the workflow and enter the information provided by the subcontractor. For subcontract details, enter all required information about this subcontract. When you submit your subcontract report, the amount you enter in the subcontract amount field will be used as a check against the total contract amount. If there is an issue, you will get a warning when you submit the report. This is a new feature that we developed to help avoid errors and duplicative reporting. If you accidentally put a future subcontract date, you will get an error and need to correct it. A subcontract description is also required. For the place of performance, you can select a variety of options. The first three options use information from SAM to populate the city, state, zip code, and congressional district if it's available. If you choose another location, you can look up the congressional district automatically by providing the street address. The street address information helps derive the congressional district, and SAM.gov does not display or use it in the submitted subcontract report. For non-US locations, we have also included a way to directly enter information for them. For this demonstration, we're going to continue with a US-based entity. When you have entered all of your information, select the Next button to get to the review screen. After reviewing your information, select the Submit button to submit your report. You may see an Are You Sure You Want to Submit page. This page provides a list of all potential issues with your subcontract report. These are helpful warnings to be sure that the subcontract information that you are submitting is accurate. If you need to fix the report, select the Update This Report button. After you review the list, if you determine everything is okay, select the Continue button to submit the report. For now, we'll select Continue and see the Report Published page. This page includes a subcontract summary for the prime contract and how it relates to this and all associated subcontracts. The second way you can create a subcontract report is from the Subcontract Reports tab. From here, you'll want to select the New Subcontract Report button. The biggest difference from the previous method is that you'll have to provide the prime contract information since you did not start the new subcontract report from a selected prime contract details page. To do so, enter at least the first 3 characters of the contract ID and select the contract from the drop-down menu. If the contract you are using has multiple IDVs, you can associate an IDV with this prime contract in the drop-down menu. When you're working on your reports, they are saved in draft form as you navigate through the data entry screens. So if you don't know some information or want to take a break, you can come back to the subcontract report list and find it in draft status. To continue, simply select the report in the table to open it. From the Review and Publish subcontract report page, you'll notice update buttons next to each section of the report. To edit that specific section, select the Update button to be taken to the relevant data entry step. You can also continue to use the left navigation to navigate through the report as well. If you modify a subcontract or make a mistake on a published report, you can modify it after it was published. Locate the report in the Subcontract Reports list and select it to open the Subcontract Details page. Select the Update button. The prompt Verify that you want to update this report is normal and ensures that you didn't do this by mistake. Select Update to continue or Cancel to quit. The report is set to reopen status in the system. The only fields you cannot update are those associated with the prime contract. This data cannot be changed in the subaward reporting workflow. Every other field includes an Update button. Select the Update button next to the area you need to update. You can then submit it as normal. In SAM.gov, you can also delete reports you have submitted. To do so, navigate to the Subcontract Reports, open the subcontract report that you would like to delete, and select the Delete button. The prompt asks you to confirm deletion. To delete the report, select Delete. SAM.gov sends data and any records you delete to USA Spending every 24 hours. That wraps up our discussion of how to create and update subcontract reports. Most of the information in this video is also applicable to the assistance awards found in the Federal Assistance widget in the workspace. We will cover creating subaward reports for assistance awards in a different session. Thanks for watching.
Okay, thanks everybody. So that separate session is right now. So we are also going to be showing the video that we put together for how to submit a financial assistance subaward report as well. So let me add that.
Hello. In this video, I'll be showing you how non-federal users can work with subaward reports in SAM.gov starting in spring 2025. Non-federal users will need the data entry role under the entity reporting domain to use these new features. They can also access these features if they have the administrator role with subaward reporting permission. There are two new widgets in the workspace for reporting, one for contract awards and one for federal assistance awards. For this demo, we will take a look at federal assistance awards. You can select the first See All button to navigate to your assistance awards page. This page displays all of your assistance awards in a single view. The search bar lets you enter an award ID to create or update a subaward report. Results display under the search bar. Selecting that result takes you to the subaward details page for that item, which displays a lot of helpful data from the subaward that will be used in the subaward report. From this page, you can create a new subaward report or view previously submitted subaward reports. The second See All button takes you to the subaward reports page. This page displays all of your subaward reports in a single view. As I said before, the Assistance Awards page provides a list of all of your assistance awards in a single place. The top of the page includes easy navigation buttons between the Assistance Awards page and the Subaward Reports page. You can filter your assistance awards by selecting one of the drop-downs and entering your search criteria, or you can search the list by entering a keyword. The list changes based on what you enter. The Assistance Awards page lets you choose how you want to view your summary. You can choose between a table or summary format. In the table format, simply select the entry in the table to open the assistance details page for that item. In the summary view, each entry has a View Award button which also opens the assistance details page. One of the big improvements we've made to subaward reporting in SAM.gov is that you no longer need to manually add or claim your Prime Assistance Award for them to be visible in your individual workspace. SAM presents you with all available Prime Assistance Awards based on your user role. Other users in your entity who have the data entry or administrator role with sub-reporting permission under the entity reporting domain will be able to see these in SAM.gov, significantly improving your ability to collaborate. Let's see what happens when we select an award. When the Assistance Details page displays, you can see all of the award's available information. You can use the left navigation to jump to specific sections on the page. By selecting Subaward Reports, you'll see all of the available subaward reports that have been created for this award. This section includes the ability to filter and search the selected subaward. From here, you can create a new subaward report. For now, we'll skip this step. Now, let's take a look at the Subaward Reports page. The Subaward Reports page has the same filter, table, and summary features as the Assistance Awards page. All of these operate in the same way. So how do you create new subaward reports? There are two ways. Let's show you how to do so from the Assistance Details page first. After you locate the assistance award you need, select the New Subaward Report button to open the new report page. From the new report page, you'll notice the Prime Assistance information is automatically populated based on the award you've selected. The assistance type is provided by usaspending.gov and cannot be changed. When creating a new report, you may delete the Prime Assistance information and select another Prime Assistance award. After you submit the draft record, you may no longer change this information, including when you reopen an existing report. We designed the data entries so you can move through the pages before completing all the information. This lets you look ahead. Just remember you cannot submit the subaward report until you provide all required information. You then navigate through the form, entering all pertinent details for the subaward. For the subrecipient, you can enter either the Unique Entity ID, UEI, or the entity name. SAM.gov will check to see if the information is the same as the Prime Assistance, or if it is a valid entity. You will get an error message for any incorrect information you enter. Executive compensation has been improved. If the subrecipient has an entity registration in SAM.gov, the executive compensation data will be pre-populated on the published report but not in the data entry process. It cannot be changed from the subaward report data entry screen. You may also need to enter executive compensation. If the information isn't in SAM.gov, simply follow the workflow and enter the information provided by the subrecipient. For subaward details, enter all required information about the subaward. When you submit your subaward report, the amount you enter in the subaward amount field will be used as a check against the total award amount. If there is an issue, you will get a soft warning when you submit the report. This is a new feature that we developed to help avoid errors and duplicative reporting. If you accidentally put a future subaward date, you will get an error and need to correct it. A subaward description is also required. For the place of performance, you can select a variety of options. The first three options use information from SAM to populate the city, state, zip code, and congressional district if it's available. If you choose another location, you can look up the congressional district automatically by providing the street address. The street address information helps derive the congressional district, and SAM.gov does not display or use it in the submitted subaward report. For non-US locations, we have also included a way to directly enter information for them. For this demonstration, we're going to continue with a US-based entity. When you have entered all of your information, select the Next button to get to the review screen. After reviewing your information, select the Submit button to submit your report. You may see an Are You Sure You Want to Submit page. This page provides a list of all potential issues with your subaward report. These are helpful warnings to be sure that the subaward information that you are submitting is accurate. If you need to fix the report, select the Update This Report button. After you review the list, if you determine everything is okay, select the Continue button to submit the report. For now, we'll select Continue and see the Report Published page. This page includes a subaward summary for the Prime Assistance Award and how it relates to this and all associated subawards. The second way you can create a new subaward report is from the Subaward Reports tab. From here, you'll want to select the New Subaward Report button. The biggest difference from the previous method is that you'll have to select a Prime Assistance Award since you did not start the new subaward report from a selected Prime Assistance Details page. To do so, enter at least the first 3 characters of the award ID and select the award from the drop-down menu. When you're working on your reports, they are saved in draft form as you navigate through the data entry screens. So if you don't know some information or want to take a break, you can come back to the subaward report list and find it in draft status. To continue, simply select the report in the table to open it. From the Review and Publish subaward report page, you'll notice update buttons next to each section of the report. To edit that specific section, select the Update button to be taken to the relevant data entry step. You can also continue to use the left navigation to navigate through the report as well. If you modify a subaward or make a mistake on a published report, you can modify it after it was published. Locate the report in the Subaward Reports list and select it to open the Subaward Details page. Select the Update button. The prompt "Verify that you want to update this report" is normal and ensures that you didn't do this by mistake. Select Update to continue or Cancel to quit. The report is set to Reopen status in the system. The only fields you cannot update are those associated with the Prime Assistance Award. This data is pre-populated from USA Spending and cannot be changed in the subaward reporting workflow. Every other field includes an Update button. Select the Update button next to the area you need to update. You can then submit it as normal. In SAM.gov, you can also delete reports you have submitted. To do so, navigate to the subaward reports, open the subaward report you would like to delete, and select the Delete button. The prompt asks you to confirm deletion. To delete the report, select Delete. SAM.gov sends data and any records you delete to USA Spending every 24 hours. That wraps up our discussion of how to create and update subaward reports. Most of the information in this video is also applicable to contract awards found in the Contracting widget in the workspace. Thanks for watching.
Okay. So next, we have some and making sure that you're ready for what's going to be launching on Friday or on Friday night. So we have some helpful resources here. So we have each of these contain links. So the first is 5 tips for accurate FFATA subaward reporting. And that includes such advice such as making a separate report for each subaward, updating existing reports when you modify a subaward as opposed to just creating a brand new subaward report, only reporting new modifications or subawards themselves, reporting the obligation, not the payment, so the total dollar amount as opposed to just what changed. And then reporting the subaward only once. So there was a lot of confusion as to the FSRS site as to when do I need to report my information. It gives the impression that you need to report every single month for all of your subcontracts or subawards. That technically that is not the case. What we require and what we encourage you to do is to only create a single subaward report for a given individual contract, subcontract, or subaward for an assistance award. And then you can maintain that report that you just created throughout the life of that award itself. You do not need to create another report for that existing contract. And the only time you would need to create a new report is if you issued a brand new contract or subaward to either the same entity or another entity. We also have links to knowledge articles for how you can review and publish subaward reports and subcontract reports in SAM.gov. And again, just a restatement of some of the things that you can do in SAM starting when we launch this weekend, such as managing reporting for all your entities, sharing responsibilities across your team, using data in SAM.gov to reduce reporting burden, additional warnings that were not in place for the FSRS site. Complying with federal regulation more easily, and then searching and viewing reports more easily. And speaking of, we have also have an API specification for users who may want to use system-to-system communication to create bulk uploads of subaward reports or subcontract reports into SAM. Each of these links will take you to have all of the details for how the request types, response parameters, and all that sort of stuff. As I mentioned up top, at the initial launch of the functionality in SAM, there will be no file upload capability. We are in the midst of working on a solution for that, and it will be ideally released soon, but it will not be released at the time of launch of SAM, of the subaward reporting functionality in SAM. The second link that you see here is a link to the external public API. So this is for the first time that many of you will have the opportunity to be able to utilize something like this. We are introducing a outbound interface that will allow you to consume subaward data. That includes all publicly available subaward information, not just the information that maybe perhaps you as an organization have created in SAM. This will allow, downstream analysis to information that you've loaded into any respective database and be able to perform analytic work as far as that goes. This is the same information that would be, available in USA Spending. Okay, the final video that we're going to show is going to show off the search functionality that we've implemented for the subaward reports in SAM.gov. This is something that was not available in FSRS, that site. What FSRS allows a non-federal user to do is view their own records. And for a lot of you, the only way you could view the information aside from any of your own information would be to go to usaspending.gov. In the interest of transparency, we've created this in SAM so that you can immediately see any records that have been created in SAM.gov aside from records that are related to Department of Defense, immediate 90-day release contract details. But the next video will show you how that will work. So one moment.
Hello. In this video, I will be showing you how you can use the search capabilities in SAM.gov to search for subaward reporting information starting in spring 2025. The ability to search for subaward information will be added to SAM.gov and will be a new feature for FSRS users. Subaward information on SAM.gov will be available to authenticated users. This represents the first time that subcontract and assistance subaward data will be available for search for authenticated users outside of USA Spending, greatly increasing transparency for data created within SAM. For those users who have not signed in, they will be prompted to sign in to be able to see these records within SAM. For our demonstration today, we'll be using a non-federal account that is logged in. To begin, select the Search tab. We've made some changes to the SAM.gov search page that will benefit everyone. Search is now simpler and easier to navigate. We moved the domain selectors from the left navigation to the top of the page based on customer feedback. These bubbles let you choose which area of SAM.gov you want to search. When you select a domain, the subdomains become available. By default, the All Domains parent domain is selected, which will return results for any record within SAM.gov. For more tailored results, you can select a specific SAM domain. You can either choose a subdomain to search within that domain, or choose a new domain by selecting from the drop-down menu of the current domain. Unlike the other domains, the entity information parent domain has an all entity information subdomain that allows you to search and view results across all entity information subdomains, including entities, disaster response registry, responsibility/qualification, and exclusions. For all other parent domains, including contracting, federal assistance, federal hierarchy, and wage determinations, you will need to select at least one subdomain to determine the kinds of results that you would like to see. For subaward information, you can choose either contracting or federal assistance. For this example, we'll use contracting. Notice the filters in the left navigation pane. These filters change based on the domain or subdomain that you select. To search for reporting information, select Subaward Reports. You can use the filters in the left column to further refine your search results. As you enter search criteria, the search is updated to reflect your entries. You can perform a wildcard search using any words, all words, or an exact phrase search in the keyword search section, or alternatively, the search page allows you to use varying options for filters. In the subcontractor section, you can filter by Unique Entity ID, UEI, or entity name. Within the subcontract section, you can filter by the subaward ID. In the prime contractor section, you can filter by Unique Entity ID, UEI, or entity name. In the prime contract section, you can filter by Contract ID, PID, Reference IDV, PID, or federal organizations, where you can either type the ID or name of the federal organization, or you can select the three-dot ellipses button to open a menu to select the federal organization. For the date filter, you can choose either a pre-selected date range or enter a custom date range. If you want to save this search for later, select the Actions menu and select Save from the drop-down. Enter a name for your saved search and select the Save button. This saved search is added to your Saved Searches page. From the Saved Searches page, you can select from the Actions menu to edit, duplicate, delete, or download your saved search. Or you can run the search again by selecting the link under the Name column. You can also download the saved search from the Actions menu by selecting Download. Select either a CSV or PDF file type and then select the Download button. You can then open this file from your computer's download folder. The information in this video is also applicable to the federal assistance domain search. The subdomains and filters are different for the federal assistance domain, but all other aspects of the search operate in the same manner. For example, by selecting the menu button from the Federal Organizations filter drop-down, you can select from a pre-populated list of federal organizations. And then, you could select from the list of assistance types to further refine your search results. This is a new filter that has been added to SAM and was not previously available in FSRS. That wraps up our discussion of how to use the new search features in SAM.gov to locate subaward report information. Thanks for watching.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Okay, so the next slide, we're talking about where you can get more help for SAM.gov subaward reporting. So as always, we do have the FSD, the Federal Service Desk, FSD.gov, where you can search for quick answers as well as read knowledge articles for topics and more after the transition. The hours of operation for FSD are Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We do have a number of phone numbers as well as DSN you can use if you would like to reach out to them via phone. And we also have live chat and create incidents where you can open tickets to where you can have a trackable response from a help desk respondent representative. Okay, so we also, as mentioned before, we do have a GSA YouTube channel, of which there is a link on this page. We have posted all of the videos that you've seen over the course of this presentation, as well as some more videos that obviously are longer form and we cannot play in, the 1 hour time bound that we are in today. But we have previous training sessions that we have posted for bulk uploads. We have previous training sessions that are solely focused on roles and permissions. And then we have some how-to videos such as FSRS to SAM overview, and the 4 videos that I played for you as part of this presentation today. So thank you all for watching and participating in this training session. As mentioned before, we do have a link at GSA Interact. What this will do is as soon as we have any additional announcements or additional, content such as, output files of the presentations that we're sharing or additional news that we would like to get to users, you can go to the link right there and subscribe to the activity feed, and then you will get and be one of the first to know of any updates as far as GSA IAE updates to our systems. And again, thank you for participating in the training session. Allison?
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, folks.